ANC Youth League is organising a big rally to address issues that range from education, unemployment and general social issues. Well, let's talk a little bit more about this march, and we're joined in studio by Collen Maine, who is the ANC Youth League president. Good to have you. Welcome to the programme.
Good morning and morning to your listeners.
So I talk about the fact that you're trying to address a wide range of issues: education, unemployment, social issues, anything else. What are you trying to achieve?
Well, of course, the other issue would be the issues of the economy, because people would recall that the current leadership or generation of young people has said that we need to achieve economic freedom or emancipation in our lifetime. So the rally is aimed at dealing with that, but also to prepare ourselves for the forthcoming local government elections to ensure that the ANC retains its municipalities, particularly the big metros.
Yeah. How do you think the support for the ANC is looking at this point?
Well, the ANC is a movement of the people. The majority of South Africans identify themselves with the African National Congress, and they still support it. So we are confident that the ANC will emerge victorious from these local government elections. But as we have said, that we want to talk about the most important issue of the economy as young people, economic emancipation, that since 1994, the generation that came before us have achieved that particular thing of making sure that South Africa is a democratic South Africa, is a democratic country. So as the current generation, we will have to make sure that we deal with the politics of the economy. We feeling that we have not achieved a lot in that particular regard. There are few South Africans, particularly black South Africans, who has made it. But we are saying that it's not enough. But we will have to face a battle against white monopoly capital. People would recall that just recently, when the political decisions were taken, the market reacted otherwise. So for us, it's bigger than that as the Youth League. And as the current generation of young people, will have to fight that particular thing so that our people, like their white counterparts, have got access to loans in banks, and they don't have to go through stringent measures and get loans at higher prices as opposed to their white counterparts. So these are some of the issues that we are dealing with. So we also want the banks to treat all of us, we should not be treated differently as South Africans. But we also want the Department of Treasury to make sure that second-tier bankers also come on board, play their part, so that they are able to loan our people, particularly youth and women, in the same way that our white counterparts have been loaned.
What do you propose is done? I mean, there seems to be quite an issue and a comparison always between your white counterparts and the rest. But what do you propose should be done? Because surely, in order to improve the economy, you do have suggestions of how we can do that.
Yes, of course. The first issue is like I was saying, that we should all be equal, and people must appreciate that there's a new dispensation.
I think people do appreciate it, but I think my question to you is, what do you think should be done? Should industries be stimulated? How do we stimulate this economy? How do we build factories? How do we get jobs? That is really at the crux of all of it, isn't it?
But the issue is, will we, as South Africans, all of us, black and white, be able to do that? Because if we leave the status quo, it will only be the previously advantaged people who would do that. So we must change the status quo so that black people are also able to play into the market. That's what we want. But because the issue now is that every black person who makes it in the economy is either you are labeled corrupt and all of that. So we need to change that narrative first and foremost before we go and do that. And then blacks means, in terms of the definition of the country, all of us who are blacks, Indians, Chinese, and all of that, who we are blacks. Yes.
All right. Your views on that. Let's get your views on other issues. I would love to know your position on the latest from ANCYL. We saw that the President has agreed and proposed an end to the saga by paying back a portion of the funds owed. What's the ANC Youth League's point of view on all of this?
Yeah, like the Presidency has said that This is nothing new. The president has always been willing to cooperate. And like the African National Congress, we welcome the move by the president of the ANC and the country. But we want to send a message clear that it is not admission of guilt, because people would know that those who were involved in wrongdoings, they have been processed. So we just thank the president of the ANC and the country for having taken this decision so that we take the country forward. You would know that there's a lot of shenanigans happening in parliament from opposition parties. They want to hold the country to ransom on this particular issue. So we think that we are getting close to closing this particular issue. So the president has always been willing to cooperate, and we are happy that he came public to say this is what he intends to do.
Another issue to get your views on, and you know, this is something that's come out, and there seems to be a lot of tension around this. The SACP, some of the alliance partners, they are not happy with the Gupta family here in South Africa, the relationship with the president, and of course, doing business here in South Africa. What is your position when it comes to the Gupta family and their position here in South Africa?
Well, the Freedom Charter says that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. Now, maybe we must change the narrative a bit. Leave the fact that these allegations that the Guptas are aligned to the president or to some people in the ANC. The question should be, what is their contribution to the economy of the country? And maybe one of the sins, well, I'm not a friend of the Guptas. I'm a friend of the ANC. I'm a member of the ANC. But maybe part of the sins of that family would be their entrance or to break monopoly capital. You would know that they've just entered into, they've got a newspaper, they've got a TV channel, ANCYL. Those may be the issues. And currently, we are told that they bought a mine from Lenco, and they are saying to Eskom or South Africans that we will then sell to you, South Africans, at 150 per ton, as opposed to what the other big players are charging, 900. So for me, is the whole question of entering into the space where was previously dominated by white and exposing them that the country and the economy has been milked by these big players who are saying that we will do it cheaper. But we are saying if there's anything wrong that they've done, because nobody's above the law in the country, if people have got evidence of any wrongdoing by the Gupta family, they must take it to the relevant security agencies of the country to deal with that, so that we then don't Guptarize the country, that every time there are issues, Gupta this, Gupta that, alignment to Zuma and all of that. But if any company says to us, we are saving the economy 2 billion rand, I'm sure all of us in South Africans, we should be able to welcome that. So those are some of the issues that we are talking about, the economy of transformation of the economy. So that those that have been milking, because the problem is when black people get into those things, which were previously meant for white, then that is the problem. So let's leave the narrative about connections, whether Zuma's son is working with them or not. But if they are able to give us coal at a cheaper price and ensure that there's no longer load shedding, and when we are charged 900 rand per ton by Exaro and England, all of those people, and we have been charged 150. So we should look at these things positively. But the problem is that some powers of the economy should be locked and be for certain people, which is the narrative that we must change.
And even allegations that they have influence in appointment of government ministers. Does this not worry you?
Well, from what we know is that the ANC officials meet with the president and process the issues of appointment of ministers. So there is no way that a family, a Maine family, or a Gupta family can appoint ministers. Those are, from my view, are just allegations, and people are hell-bent at undermining and making sure that everything that is done by the ANC, those who are counter-revolutionary forces, to say it is because XYZ, because the ANC, the current leadership of the ANC and the current generation of membership of the ANC is that want to transform the economy. Because now we are touching on that. All sorts of things will be said. So we don't think that the Guptas has influence on who becomes the minister. That is a prerogative of the ANC. Even the latest reshuffle, we were told that how the process was done by the ANC officials. So 9 of the Gupta families are in the officials of the ANC.
All right, Collen, we're running out of time. I just want to get some more details about this rally that's taking place, the time, and of course we know it's happening in Soshanguve. Just give some of our viewers details.
Yes, we have deliberately chosen Soshanguve, where TUT College is, TUT University is in Soshanguve, and Tshwane being the capital of the country, to take the activity there. We are expecting more than 50,000 members of the Youth League and supporters to come and join us as we tell South Africans that what we represent as the current leadership of the ANC Youth League. You would recall that from a Congress, there will be resolutions that have been taken. So we want to deal with that. But we also want to clarify the issue of our stance on the so-called fees must fall and free education. So that rally will be used to deal with that. And we must say that we support the students on free education for the poor because it's our policy as the ANC. Yeah. But we would not support where people then begin to use that movement or that cause of young people to call for the ANC to fall, Zuma to fall, and the government to fall. Yeah. That for us then is counter-revolution then. We cannot allow it.
All right. Stick to the fees must fall is
yes.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there for this morning. Collen Maine is the ANC Youth League president, talking to us about a rally that's happening on Sunday in Soshanguve, focusing on issues regarding the economy, education and unemployment, as well as general social issues here in South Africa. Well, the time is 7:30. Let's quickly get into the news headlines at this point. The EFF will hold a media briefing in Johannesburg today following President Jacob Zuma